welcome back. This is our vlog series, and this is an opportunity for us to talk about personalities.
Personalities.
Personality.
Isn't there a song?
There's a lot of songs about personality. And this is not going to be your average talk about personality. This is going to be talking about a tool we use in our organization called DISC.
Compass, we like things that are simple, not like dumb simple, but like comprehensible. Things
Like
you can
wrap your mind around, wrap
Yeah,
your heart around, wrap your
exactly.
arms around.
Exactly. Time is short. We're busy people. We want to be able to communicate and communicate well in a short amount of time. And so one of the tools that we've kind of really fallen in love with at Compass for helping us understand ourselves and each other is what's called DISC. DISC. Those four letters stand for four specific words, and they are: D stands for dominance, I stands for influence, S stands for steadiness, and C stands for conscientiousness. And each of us as people kind of fall into one of those four categories. We would be a combination of them, but we usually have one that pops out just a little bit higher than the others, sometimes a whole lot higher than the others. And that becomes our main personality characteristic. And it's fun because when you start talking about this stuff, you start hearing yourself in what other people are saying, and you go, that's very much like me, or, oh, that's like my spouse, or that's like my coworker, and it becomes kind of fun, but it really does help you understand. So today we're going to talk first about the D.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now, D, I don't know why they put D in the front. It might be because if they put C in the front, you would have been kissed, or if they put S in the front.
No.
It might have
We
been
all know why they
Siddiq.
put. No. They all put D in the front because D's belong in the front.
Yeah,
That is what it is.
And that's what they'll tell you. D stands for dominance. And a dominant personality type is usually, they represent typically about 3% of the human population. Have D as their first and strongest characteristic. And those are the folks that are your real take charge, out in front, don't wait for permission to lead, but just step up and take it type of people.
And I'm going to tell you a D story. So this is how D's are and how D's think. So when I was young, I was always ended up in leadership. So this is my story. When I was a freshman, I went into a program. I was at Simpson University and I was playing volleyball. And I had two things said to me so we had a volleyball camp. So we have 8 hours of volleyball. We're all playing volleyball. We're together all the time. And I had two things that I actually at the time didn't understand and now make perfect sense being a D. The first thing that I heard and shocked me was I was nominated to be a captain, which was crazy because I was a freshman and I just was brand new to the team, and there were juniors and there were seniors on the team and there were even some sophomores. But I was nominated right away to be a captain of the team, and shocking, I know. But the reason the coach went around and said, okay, well, why do you nominate Sadie? And people said, well, we just know that she's going to be really clear with what we need to do. And because one of the jobs of the captain was they also needed to go get all the lunches from the cafeteria. If we ever had, we needed to have a bag dinner or a bag lunch, because we were, traveling for the games. We also communicated with the teams. We did a lot of communication. And they're like, we'll know what's going on because Sadie's in charge. So that felt really good. And they'd only known me for a couple of days. So I was like, oh, wow. How did you already see that about me and know that about me? The other thing that was said is I was in the cafeteria and her name was Vicky, a sophomore, came walking up to me and said, are you mad at me? And I'm like, no, I hardly know you. How would I be mad at you? And she's like, well, your voice is loud all the time. You talk very loud and it kind of sounds like you're yelling at me all the time. And I was like, oh, and it was very confusing because in one moment I was being told, wow, you're awesome. You're a really strong personality. We want that as our leader, as our captain. But then in the next minute or a few minutes later at the cafeteria, I was being told, you're scary. And that kind of sums up a D. Like they are strong and people feel really safe with them in a lot of ways, but at the same time they can feel a little bit scared of them because they tend to be such strong, big personalities. I've often told Eric, I feel like I have to dial myself down, which I'm trying to work through because I don't always think you should dial yourself down, but how do you not be so bright, so loud, so seemingly angry, so, emotions out there all the time?
People will oftentimes respond to things that aren't good or bad, they just are, and make them good or bad. For example, a core trait of D's is almost all of them are very competitive. They have to win. In fact, winning is a core focus of a D. There's nothing wrong with that. Winning is a good thing. In fact, if you've ever played a sport, it's a lot more fun to win than to lose. And if you're on a team and there's somebody that helps you win, you tend to like that player more than the teammate who helps you lose. So, that's not rocket science. There's no revelation there. But so D's have this drive to win. And if you feel that pressure behind you and that D is pushing you to win, you might perform better, but you also might not like the pressure on your back. And so a lot of times the criticism D's get is somewhat because the other people don't like, the people behind them that are following them don't like the pressure they feel to perform. Now that's true, but also there are some folks who are D's, who are a little broken, and they are so focused on winning, they're willing to trash the hearts of the people around them to achieve the outcome they want. And that's not justifiable. It's not a good idea. At least at Compass, we empower D's to be powerful. We do not empower them to hurt people as they attempt to achieve their goals. That's a very important distinction. And so remember, D's also, in their need for power, it's because they want to have things go the right way. They want to achieve the goals, so they're super driven. And those goals are very well good things. But how they go about pursuing those goals is what really demonstrates whether you're dealing with a healthy, happy D or a not so healthy and kind of scary D.
One of the transformative things for me is a lot of the words, and this is something that Eric was just referring to, a lot of the words that if you look up and if you take a DISC test, which there are plenty that are free online, and you find out you're a D, some of the words may feel and sound very negative to you. There are words like, dominating can be a word, especially for females, that feels a little bit like a judgment and not a positive judgment on you as a person. So one of the things that was very transformative for me is what Eric was just referring to, is realizing that these words, we've attributed certain characteristics and either a goodness or a badness to these words, but they're not necessarily either of those things. That anything that's done with the right intention and the right heart can be good, and anything done with a bad heart and a bad intention can be bad. But it doesn't mean that the word dominant or the word what are some of the other words that are on the DISC test? Critical. There were like 5 words. I was like, yikes. Ooh,
because the connotations we have typically attached to those words aren't complimentary. I like to tell people who are D's, you're like a really, really, really fast car. You're like a Ferrari. There are times when a Ferrari isn't the best car to be driven. Like if you're driving down through the neighborhood and you want a gentle space, that's not the time as a Ferrari to really let your engine roar. But you know what? If I had a Ferrari and my wife was in labor and I had to get her to the hospital, you better darn well believe I'd be thankful to have a car that can go 100 miles an hour if I needed to. That Ferrari engine is important in when goals have to be met and you can't not meet them. So if you're a D and you have that power inside of you, embrace it. Just manage it. And go after your goals, pursue them, but make sure that you're loving people along the way, and that you're not letting your ambition. That's another one of the words.
Ambitious is definitely another one of the words.
Don't let your ambition lead you into hurting people in the process. Somebody once said, a knife is great and it's terrible. It's great when it cuts your steak and it's bad when it cuts your friend. So if you're a D, cut your steak. Don't cut your friend.
So if you're a D, know that you're in good company, because I'm a D as well. And they are really fun, awesome, powerful human beings.
Crucial.
that are critical to making sure that the world goes round. And you're actually also somewhat rare. There's only about 3% of us. But also know that you have to approach everything with the right heart. With this personality type, like any other personality type. And then also, if you happen to not be a D and you're around Ds, give them great feedback, because sometimes we truthfully have no freaking clue how we're being perceived, because we are just barreling through our day, through our week, through our life with ambition and with goals and with motivations and with this desire to win. So sometimes we actually have really no clue how we're being perceived by others. We don't know that people think we're yelling at them on the volleyball court because they promoted us to the leader, so we think that that's what they want us to do, is yell at them.
And oftentimes D's don't know that their leadership is vital to get the job done. So tell them that too.
All right, so that's some ways to interact with the dominant personality. If you enjoyed this, we have one on the I, and we have one on the S, and one on the C. So look for those vlogs as well.
All right, till next time. Ciao.